specifically. Tell us about team language coefficient. What does that mean? Why is it important?
When you look at the 25 hours of transcript on the El Faro and you count the words that everybody says, there's some really interesting things that come out. So I'm not making any judgment about the quality of the word or the kind of word, whether it's a statement or a question, just word count. That's all you need. And I said, well, let me look at every time there's three people on the bridge, the captain, the watch officer, and the seaman who's steering the ship. So that's the hierarchy: captain, watch officer, seaman. And if I counted the words and I just said, there are three people, here's the number of words each person said. This person said 55% of the words. This person said 40% of the words. And this person said 5% of the words. Guess who's who? In every single case, you'd have been 100% correct if you simply aligned the word count to the hierarchy. In every case, the captain said the most number of words in all three different teams. The officer said the next most, and then way below that person, the crewman. The crewman said 2% on one team, 3% on another, and 5%. And no crewman said more than 1/20th of the entire word said during the time the captain was on the bridge.
And the other part of that that's really fascinating is when the captain leaves the bridge and you look at the transcript, there's a lot to be said. It's just not said in the presence of the captain.
Correct. And then the captain leaves, and now there's just the two people, and then now they're going back and forth and almost like 50-50. So you can measure that variation, and we piggyback on a calculation called the Gini coefficient, which is how you measure income inequality in countries. And so it's a number between 0 and 1, 0 being totally even, four people, each person said 25% of the words, versus 1.0, which is one person said 100% of the words. And so then now we can attach a number score to any team interaction. It could be a meeting you have in your office. And the hypothesis is that the more even the number, the lower the Gini coefficient, the more even the sharing of the voices, the more resilient the team is. And typically uneven skew happens two ways. Either one person, typically the leader, blathers on too much, or one person or more, the outlying thinkers typically, or just introverts, or just quiet people, or just unsure people, or whatever they're, don't say anything. And so your job as a leader is to generate a more even share of voice. And so you look at the people who are being quiet and you invite them into the hey, John, you've been quiet. How are you seeing this? What do you see in our conversation so far that gives you pause? And make it easy for those people. If it's good psychological safety, they'll chime in. If they're still queasy, then make a note and just kind of catch them afterwards. I felt like we were deprived of what you think and what you see. Can you share it with me? So it's about leveling that share of voice. And there is science. There's a professor at MIT, Professor Malone, who's done some studies on this where he's actually shown teams with a more even share of voice are more resilient and effective.
And this comes right back to binary questions, right? If you're asking, is it safe? And the answer is yes. That's just taking those four words. Is it safe? Yes. It's 3 times the word count for the person asking the question. Whereas if you ask, how safe is it? You open up almost certainly a more nuanced, richer, lots more data points answer, because there's certainly going to be more than a one-word response to that question.
Exactly. Ask the question in a way that you think will elicit the most number of words from the other person. That's another just good way to think about it. And if I say,